to this explainer. Okay, picture this. You've just poured your absolute best effort into a massively complex technical problem. You've built an incredibly elegant system, and leadership seemingly ignores it. We have all been there, right? Today, we are unpacking a fascinating and incredibly common phenomenon known as the invisible engineer. We're going to look at exactly how engineers can bridge that frustrating gap between brilliant technical decisions and actual business value, ensuring your hard work is finally visible to the leadership teams that matter. It brings up a really tough, honestly frustrating question. Why do great engineers get passed over? You put in the late hours, you solve the hardest problems, and yet someone else gets the nod. But here is the secret we're going to uncover today. The answer has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of your code. Seriously, you aren't getting passed over because your work is weak. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The invisible engineer. 2. The perfection paradox. 3. The translation gap. 4. The engineer's operating system. And finally, 5. Making your work count. Kicking things off with Section 1, the invisible engineer, and what happens when great work goes unseen. Here's a harsh reality that, let's be honest, nobody in tech really likes to talk about openly. Engineers are constantly getting passed over for promotions, but it is not because their work is subpar. It all comes down to a fundamental law of corporate physics. In business, invisible work just doesn't get rewarded. It doesn't matter how robust your backend architecture is or how beautifully clean your refactoring was. If the leadership team cannot physically see the impact of that technically correct work, they simply cannot reward it. They literally cannot promote what they do not comprehend. Moving right along to Section 2, the perfection paradox. This is where you're technically right, but commercially invisible. And this brilliantly illustrates where the situation gets really maddening. Technically perfect decisions are being made every single day, right? Yet they still end up costing companies money. How on earth is that possible? Well, just contrast the engineering reality with the business reality. On the engineering side, everything is optimized and deployments are humming along flawlessly. But from the business perspective, nothing is actually improved. The commercial impact is completely invisible and the needle hasn't moved an inch. Let's break down a super common scenario. Imagine a system is built perfectly. The cloud architecture is highly optimized. The deployment pipeline is wonderfully efficient. Engineering did absolutely everything right by the book. Yet, despite all of this technical perfection, nothing improves for the business. Why? Well, because the business leaders never actually understood what was happening under the hood. They just couldn't see the connection between that beautiful, optimized cloud cluster and the company's bottom line. Which brings us to Section 3, the translation gap, the actual root cause of all this. So what does this all mean? If the engineering was flawless, the problem was never the technology itself. The problem was entirely about how that technology was communicated. It's a communication gap, an alignment gap, and an operational gap. The engineering decisions simply weren't translated into business impact. And because they weren't translated into a language the business actually speaks, leadership was left completely unable to act on them. Value was lost in translation. That is such a powerful statement to just pause on for a second. All that massive technical value you and your team generated just evaporated in the boardroom. This lack of translation is the exact point where the chain between good code and business success completely breaks down. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds into a solution. The engineer's operating system, designed for bridging the divide. So the crucial point is, it is not enough for us to just point out the problem. We need a structured framework to actually solve it. This is how you start building that bridge. Step 1, make your decisions visible. You gotta stop hiding your architectural wins in commit logs. Step 2, translate infrastructure into outcomes. Move away from just talking about server efficiency and start talking about what that efficiency enables, like say, faster time to market or reduced operational costs. And Step 3, connect systems directly to business value. Show leadership exactly how your technical architecture connects to the broader financial or strategic goals of the entire company. And finally, Section 5, making your work count by fundamentally changing the paradigm. Now, what's really interesting about this is I want to reassure you right now, adopting this operating system is absolutely not about piling 50 more hours of work onto your plate. It's simply about repositioning the high-quality work you're already doing. It demands a total paradigm shift. It's not enough to build correctly. You literally have to be understood correctly. In modern tech environments, comprehension by your leadership team is just as critical as your build quality. If they don't understand the value of what you built, well, from a career visibility standpoint, it effectively didn't happen. Again, it is not about doing more work. It is about making your work count. That is the core takeaway of this entire explainer. You have the power to ensure your hard work is finally recognized. By translating your technical achievements into clear business value, you stop being the invisible engineer and you start becoming an undeniable, highly visible asset to the company's success. Which leaves us with a final, kind of provocative thought to ponder. Is your best work currently invisible to the exact people who need to see it most? Take a hard look at your last big project. Did the business truly understand its value? If not, it's definitely time to start translating. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this empowers you to start making those brilliant technical wins visible today.